Welcome back to another deep dive here on TechVibe, where we strip away the marketing hype and get straight to the raw engineering reality of the camera world for the professionals and enthusiasts who demand nothing but the absolute best. If you have been tracking the pulse of the imaging industry, you know that the atmosphere is currently electric with anticipation because we are approaching a critical window for Nikon. The original Z9 did not just compete, it completely reset the chessboard by eliminating the mechanical shutter and proving that a mirrorless flagship could handle the most brutal professional workflows without breaking a sweat. But the industry moves at light speed, and with Sony pushing global shutters and Canon refining their R1 architecture, the question on everyone's mind is simply what comes next. Today we are looking exclusively at the Nikon Z9 II, and we are going to dissect the authentic rumors, the supply chain leaks, and the strategic realities that are shaping this camera into what could be the most significant release of the decade. Let's address the timeline immediately, because this is where the most confusion lies and where many mainstream outlets are getting it wrong. There is a massive expectation that camera manufacturers must adhere to a strict 4-year cycle aligning perfectly with the Winter Olympics or the World Cup, but the reality of the current semiconductor landscape has shifted that dynamic. Authentic intelligence from industry insiders suggests that Nikon is not rushing the Z9 II to market just to meet an arbitrary calendar date in early 2026. Instead, we are looking at a strategic delay that likely pushes this release deeper into the cycle, possibly late 2026. This is not a sign of trouble, it is a sign of ambition. Nikon is waiting for yield rates to stabilize on next-generation components, specifically regarding the sensor and the processor architecture that will define the next 5 years of professional imaging. They know that releasing an incremental update right now would be a mistake, when the technology for a revolutionary update is just on the horizon. The heart of this conversation has to be the sensor technology, because this is where the battle for supremacy will be fought. The Sony A9 III introduced the global shutter to the mass market, and it changed the conversation about speed and flash sync forever, but it came with a compromise in base ISO and dynamic range. For the Z9 II, our sources indicate that Nikon is taking a different and perhaps more sophisticated path, rather than rushing to a full global shutter that might compromise image quality for landscape and studio photographers. Nikon is likely developing a partially stacked or hyper-fast readout sensor that mimics the benefits of a global shutter without the dynamic range penalty. We are talking about readout speed so incredibly fast that rolling shutter becomes a mathematical impossibility for 99% of subjects, yet the camera retains that deep, rich 14-stop dynamic range that Nikon shooters refuse to sacrifice. The resolution is the other major debating point. While some clamor for 60 megapixels, the sweet spot for a speed flagship remains in the 45 to 50 megapixel range. This resolution allows for manageable file sizes for sports agencies transferring thousands of images via FTP, while still offering enough density for 8K video capture, which brings us to the most exciting development in Nikon's history. We cannot talk about the Z9 II without talking about the acquisition of Red Digital Cinema. When Nikon bought Red, it sent shockwaves through Hollywood, and the Z9 II is expected to be the very first flagship body to truly integrate the DNA of that merger. We are not just talking about being able to shoot on RAW anymore. The holy grail here is the potential integration of authentic REDCODE RAW, internal recording, and RED's proprietary color science. If Nikon pulls this off, the Z9 ceases to be just a photo camera that shoots video and becomes a legitimate cinema camera in a DSLR form factor. Imagine having the color science of a V-Raptor inside a weather-sealed magnesium alloy body that you can toss into a backpack. This integration would also likely bring advanced waveform monitors, false color tools, and perhaps even a dedicated cinema interface that activates when you flip the switch to video mode, completely changing the menu structure to match what cinematographers are used to on high-end sets. Processing power is the invisible engine that makes all of this possible. The current XP 7 is a beast, but for the Mark II, we are expecting a massive leap forward. Likely a dual-chip architecture or a new X8 processor designed specifically to handle AI computations locally. The autofocus on the original Z9 is incredible, but it is reactive. The Z9 II aims to be predictive. By utilizing deep learning algorithms that are processed on a dedicated AI core, the camera could theoretically understand complex movements in sports and wildlife before they happen. We are talking about an autofocus system that recognizes the specific muscle tension of a sprinter about to launch or the wing pattern of a bird about to dive. This isn't just subject detection, it is subject anticipation. This requires immense computational throughput, which explains why Nikon is taking their time to ensure the thermal management of the body can handle this load without overheating, a problem that has plagued their competitors in the past. Let's talk about the physical reality of the camera, because ergonomics are why professionals stick with Nikon. The Z9 is a large camera, and while the vertical grip is non-negotiable for battery life and balance, there is a strong push in the materials engineering department to utilize new magnesium lithium alloys to shave weight. If Nikon can cut 10 to 15% of the weight while maintaining the tank-like durability that allows you to hammer nails with the body, that is a massive win for photojournalists carrying gear all day. Furthermore, the electronic viewfinder needs to evolve. We are looking for a jump to a 9 million dot panel with brightness levels that mimic the optical experience of a D6, so closely that your eye cannot tell the difference. The blackout-free experience was step 1, but step 2 is creating a viewfinder that offers true-to-life HDR monitoring and bright sunlight, allowing you to see into the shadows before you even press the shutter. Connectivity is the final pillar of this flagship. For the US and European markets where 5G on-wave infrastructure is becoming standard, the Z9 II is rumored to integrate unparalleled connectivity options directly into the body. We are talking about the ability to upload RAW files to a remote server in real time without an external transmitter. For news agencies covering the Super Bowl or the Olympics, this speed is money. The ability to voice tag an image and have it on an editor's desk in London or New York 3 seconds after the shutter creates a workflow advantage that justifies the premium price tag instantly. Ultimately, the Nikon Z9 II is shaping up to be more than just a camera. It is a statement of intent. It is Nikon telling the world that the merger with Red was not a vanity project but a strategic dominance play. It is a declaration that they will not sacrifice image quality for marketing gimmicks like a global shutter. If the tech isn't ready, but they will push the envelope of what is physically possible with readout speeds and processing. If you are a professional photographer or a serious enthusiast, currently shooting with a Z9 or a Z8, you are already in an excellent position. But the Z9 II is coming to redefine what your tools can do for you. It is about future-proofing your career for the next era of imaging. We are going to be monitoring every single patent filing, every firmware code leak, and every supply chain ripple as we get closer to the official announcement, because here at TechVibe, we believe you deserve the truth, not just the rumors. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and ensure your gear investments are sound, make sure you are subscribed and have those notifications turned on, because the moment we get concrete specs, you will be the first to know. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.